I don't know what any president could do in this situation. This is not even a defense of Trump. I don't know what any American president could do in this situation right now. I mean, Trump's admiration for Putin is about his love of tough guys and ideological alignment around nationalism. But I'm coming to the realization it's also because Russia is just very big. Trump is a pre-kindergartner and sees lots of land on the map and believes this confers status. His mention of Russian landmass before, quite a few times actually, I think he views this as evidence of a cool and good country. I could see that. Trump is telling Zelensky to take a deal of giving over all of Donetsk in exchange for Russia freezing most of the front lines. Yeah, see, but like all of that is insane. There's no ceasefire. For all intents and purposes, this is an infinitely worse situation that is going to seemingly continue no matter what happens. That's why overwhelming majorities of Ukrainians want a ceasefire negotiation, and also majority of Ukrainians believe it won't happen. U.S. President Donald Trump said on Saturday that Ukraine should make a deal to end the war with Russia because Russia is a very big power and they're not, after a summit where Vladimir Putin was reported to have demanded more Ukrainian land. I think one of the funniest outcomes of this also is that this does unironically show the rest of the world that America is no longer the big dog in town. Like Russia, a much smaller economy in comparison, has been able to successfully undermine American interest in Ukraine. That's it. This is the, I've talked about multipolarity existing around the planet. Okay, I've talked about multipolarity is imminent, but this is it. I'm seeing it. Like, I'm seeing it with my own two fucking eyes. It's over. America is no longer the hegemonic superpower. Obviously, when America says like, oh, we're the world police or whatever, it's fucking bullshit. But this is what it looks like when America is no longer the fucking world police. Like, this is straightforwardly what it is. And the problem here is that America doesn't realize that it's no longer the world police and is still coping and behaving like it still is the world police, which will inevitably lead to more violence. Like, I really, really, really hope that we don't try to pull some shit like this with motherfucking China. Oh my Lord. Do note this is less about your own decline and more about our rise. If China disappeared tomorrow, you'd still be the premier world superpower even with Trump. Yeah, of course. But that's precisely why I always advocate to engage in deal making with China and a peaceful transition into a multipolar world that could create more peace around and more stability around the world, as a matter of fact. But if America postures in a militant fashion, not recognizing that it is no longer the single hegemonic power and was able to get fucking owned by Putin, okay? Owned by Russia, owned by Putin. I don't know. Maybe I'm exaggerating. Maybe I'm reading this differently. But like demanding that the European allies spend 5% of their fucking GDP on NATO weapons or whatever is not going to cut it. It's not going to fix the situation at all. I think it's cooked. Complete insanity. Mr. Trump told European leaders that he believes a rapid peace deal could be negotiated if Mr. Zelensky agreed to give up the rest of the Donbass region to Russia, even those areas not occupied by Russian troops. This is literally just the Putin plan. And it kind of feels like he's going to take it, either by way of further military incursion or through the fake ceasefire process. Scoop. Putin demanded Ukraine withdraw from eastern Donetsk region as a first step towards ending the war. 3 sources familiar with the matter told us. Trump relayed this to Zelensky and the European leaders in their call on Saturday. It's over. This is the L. Putin came to America and said, hold this L to America.
Volodymyr Zelensky say they will meet Monday at the White House. The news coming hours after Trump's high-profile Alaska summit with Russian leader Vladimir Putin, which ended without a deal or an agreement to end the Kremlin's 3-year war on Ukraine. It was Putin's first time back on U.S. soil in more than a decade. He received a grand welcome, complete with a military flyover and a red carpet rollout. After their 3-hour...
Yeah, he's going to bring Zelensky over to be like, it's time. It's time for you to apologize to Vladimir Putin.
Sit down. Putin said he and Trump had reached an understanding.
Well, I think the meeting was a 10 in the sense that we got along great, and it's good when...
Yeah, it's a 10 out of 10 because the sex was incredible.
You know, two big powers get along, especially when they're nuclear powers.
The two men did get along, especially at the start of the summit, when President Trump greeted Putin on the tarmac like an old friend and even invited him to run.
I'm telling you right now, liberals might get mad at me for saying this, but my approach to this subject is actually a little different. My analysis of the events and what it spells, what it means, is different than Trump loving Vladimir Putin or whatever. Obviously that much is real, but I don't know how much Trump could do in this situation. And I don't even know if Joe Biden could have done anything different in this situation either at this stage. Like, I look at the events that unfolded as, I don't give a fuck if people yell at me for saying this. I think America was like, we're the United States of America. We can give unlimited weapons to Ukraine, and we can just like keep this managed conflict that withers away the Russian military without losing a single fucking active duty service member in that time frame, and that $50 billion plus budget hold that we have after withdrawing out of Afghanistan can directly go to Ukraine instead. And it's a much better version to engage in like this kind of proxy war. And I think, like, especially after the first big push, the success of the Ukrainian defenses, when Putin went all the way into Kyiv, caused the Western military industrial complex backed politicians to assume, oh, this is great. Like, we can actually continue a war of attrition. And they did not suspect that Russia would be able to harden their position deep into eastern Ukrainian territory and basically take over 20% of Ukrainian land and even make more territorial gains as recently as this past week. I think America thought Ukraine could like at least be in a constant state of defensive posture without losing this many combatants, without losing this many people on the defensive side, and that they could just like keep slow rolling arms shipments into Ukraine. And therefore, at this stage, it's like there's not really much America can do, especially as like defending Ukraine predictably, as I said over and over again, was inevitably going to be unpopular because Americans are very selfish anyway. And in spite of all the media pushes initially, people eventually lost interest, add Israel into the equation, and now our already limited runway is now going to Israel, and here we are. That's it. I don't necessarily think that like Donald Trump is going to be able to do anything different than whatever the battle lines have created as a reality. Mearsheimer told Ryan Grim that the summit happens so Trump can avoid imposing secondary sanctions on India as he promised. That also kind of makes sense. To make it seem as though like Russia is actually invested in the ceasefire. Is that what you mean? Originally, the proxy war scenario was to make Ukraine into 80s Afghanistan situation for the Russian army. Then it morphed into making Ukraine a South Korea type frozen situation. America failed in both. Yes, I see that. So at this point, it feels like there's no, like, Trump told Zelensky he doesn't hold the cards, right? And that part is true. We all know that that's true. But you know who also doesn't hold the cards? Donald fucking Trump. That's it. It turns out America also doesn't hold the cards because guess what? Putin invaded Ukraine, fought against all of the Western weapons that were sent into the country in the hands of the Ukrainians, and was able to successfully push 20% into Ukrainian territory. 20% of Ukrainian territory is now annexed by Russia. Their positions have hardened. They're pushing even further, and it's just gonna, I guess, end when Russia chooses to end it. Like, what more could you do? You hit the mother of all sanctions. I guess, like I said, the only thing you could do is sanction secondary markets, which would cook the energy markets for Europe, and also push away an important ally against China, which is India. I don't even think it's Trump trying to get like a Nobel Peace Prize here. If Trump really, really, really wanted a Nobel Peace Prize, he'd just get Israel to stop. It's that simple. And he would deserve the Nobel Peace Prize if he did that over Biden, for sure. But he's not. He's not doing that. So it's not going to happen. Fuck him. I mean, they might still give him one because the institution is morally bankrupt, is fraudulent, but I just assume when I see this situation in Ukraine, I look at it and I'm like, I don't even know what more America could do at this point. I guess they could just like keep giving weapons to Ukraine, but Ukrainians don't want to fight. What are you going to do? I guess arming the Ukrainians that do want to continue fighting is one thing. Now, either Ukraine pulls a Vietnam or the East is forever gone. No, there is no Ukraine pulling a Vietnam, dude. What are you talking about? Ukraine already had a reverse Vietnam situation. Like, Vietnam was armed and trained and had a standing military and anti-aircraft weapons outside of the popular forces like the Viet Cong. They had that and they succeeded. The terrain was different. It was a different set of circumstances. You know, they had a jungle, they had a decent understanding of they had a much better understanding of the region, a logistical supply chain that they could use to dupe American forces. It's already too late. Giving news to Ukraine means we materially culpable for a weapon. Should they use it to Russia to attack and they respond with one as Jover like Jover? I don't know about. I don't think America's going to be able to give Ukraine a weapon. That is fucking crazy. Y'all are insane. Ukraine is halfway into this mess because America took away its weapon, its nuclear weapon. What if we give Ukraine only one single nuke? Okay. America, at this point, has to decide whether it's, willing to take the L and hold the L. And I think Trump is trying to do the most Trumpian thing, which is to say, I'm washing my hands of this. This is not my thing. This is Ukraine. Ukraine has sovereignty. After spending the first 8 months being like, you don't hold the cards, I hold the cards, little bro. Now he's like, Ukraine has all the cards. If they want to give up territory, then it's their prerogative. That's their, they get to do that. Guys, come on. Slava Ukraini. What do you mean? They're a sovereign nation. It's Biden's war. It's Ukraine's war. Got to talk to the EU real quick. That's a L that America Trump is seemingly trying to shed from himself, even though he seemingly is going to hold that L. Trump relayed this to Zelensky and the European leaders on their call on Saturday. It's pretty funny because it's like a bully that gets beaten up at home. What does the bully do when he goes to the playground? He just like bullies people more. He bullies the children more, the smaller children more. That's what Trump is doing here. All of this like posturing against Ukraine and the EU is just a way to reinforce that America is still the world power. I promise. I swear. It's still the world power. We still got the sauce. Please, look. Yaroslav Trofimov, chief foreign affairs correspondent for the Wall Street Journal. Vladimir, stop the killing. Niet. I want a ceasefire. Niet. Ceasefire in 2 weeks or impose sanctions. Let's meet. Okay, no sanctions until the meeting. Putin, Alaska. Niet. No ceasefire. I still have the same demands as in 2022. Oh well, let's forget about a ceasefire or sanctions. It was a great and very successful day. I mean, I hate to agree with the libs here, but like that low-key is what happened. Okay.